Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we take an agnostic approach to all things streaming, whether it be content, hardware, providers, we're going to talk about it. I'm Clyde. Today I'm joined by Matthew Ross.
Hello.
Aston.
Hello everybody.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Splendid.
Awesome. Hey, we're short of Jimmy again.
What? What's wrong with Jimmy?
Yeah.
What's going on with here?
Not like us anymore.
Oh no.
More important things to do. Valentine's Day was yesterday.
Maybe he's having a really long Valentine's Day.
I don't want to think about that.
Okay.
But I'd rather talk about tech or tech related.
Okay. Ugh. I don't know about you guys, but this week has been crazy.
Moving on.
I know it's just like this. I don't know what the deal is. I was barely able to roll in here an hour before, and it's just like
Yeah, we was right behind you. We were all a little short on the notes this week, so we were all running around a little bit trying to get the show ready today.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But that being said, should we right in?
I think we should.
Let's do it.
Well,
All right. I will start with a news story from T-Mobile. The fact that there's a little story going on you may have heard about Verizon updating and finally having an unlimited plan again after a long time without one. Well, T-Mobile's also decided to update their video plan in order to basically match what Verizon decided to give with their unlimited plan. Both plans now support unlimited data and video streaming up to 1080p and also supports up to 10 gigs of high-speed mobile data, hotspot data, for free included with your plan. The one thing is the T-Mobile plan is still a little bit less expensive outright, but I know a couple people out there who use their Verizon network and absolutely love it. So it's good to have competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought it was funny because we've had for the last year or so. Hey, you know what? Screw it. We can do whatever we want. And then finally, AT&T got their weird plan that, Brian, if you guys listen to Cord Killers, you heard that saga from Brian.
Wow.
And then, Verizon finally came back and said, "Oh yeah, us too. And T-Mobile went, "No." now you're not better. You're now on par.
Right.
But see, and I wish Jimmy was here because Jimmy is a T-Mobile subscriber, and I'm curious to see what he has, what he thinks about this. I mean, for a current subscriber, is this going to be a big deal?
For T-Mobile or for Verizon?
Or for T-Mobile. For a current T-Mobile subscriber, get more. I could see this is definitely a incentive to move. I've been talking for a couple months now.
Well, it's a good plan, and with the competition to get more stuff, you get now get the 10 gigs for free. You're now you're not getting limited on your bandwidth and what kind of video size you get when you're streaming on your phone. So if you do that, I mean, if you were living on your phone, now's a good time to have an unlimited plan.
Well, and that's the thing. And T-Mobile, when they did the unlimited streaming for basically anything, that was the first time that I said, oh, or when they did it for specific apps that Spotify and stuff that I actually used. And because
Right.
I don't stream in my car because I don't want to use up my data.
Right.
I've got that built-in paranoia, even though I've got like 5 gigs to use every month, and I barely use 1. So I shouldn't have any paranoia, but I'm always careful. But it's out of habit for how many years? My first cell phone back in 2000, it could go on the internet. It would probably cost me $100, and it would take me an hour just to load the site, but I could do it. And 17 years of training to not use data. It's hard kind of to.
Well, I mean, to your point, Matt, it's easy to use if you live on your phone. I find myself, we used to be one of those people where we've been on Verizon forever. I was really frustrated when they got rid of their unlimited plan. We tried to resist upgrading phones and changing our contract and stuff like that. But eventually you get to where you've got to do something with your phone. You end up getting forced into a new contract. So we went down to the 2 gig point. We were pretty concerned about only having 2 gigs per line. And there were times where we kind of had to be careful, but we seldom ever bumped up against that 2 gig limit per line. Now we have 18 gigs, and there's really only 5 of us. So that gives us a little over 3 gigs a piece, 3.5 ish. But we are almost completely consuming that every single month. So we're all using about, and honestly, because like my folks are on my family plan, and her folks are on the family plan, and those 4 users, we actually have 7 people, but those 4 users, her parents hardly use it because they're home all the time and using Wi-Fi 99% of the time. My parents similarly are home a lot, so they use Wi-Fi the majority of the time. But there's 3 of us, my brother-in-law, me, and my wife, where we are often out of the house, away from our Wi-Fi, and using internet on a very regular basis. So we are bumping up against that limit every month. We're each using about 4 gigs a month pretty easily. And yeah, I mean, it's a piece of cake to use that much data if you just watch a little bit of video, play some games that are connected, that have some pretty high bandwidth requirements, listen to music, stream music and stuff like that. So we're doing all of that stuff almost all the time that we're out of the house. And it's easy to consume that much data.
So was in a weird boat. I ended up going with Project Fi with the Google phone. That's one of the reasons I went with them, is because where I work, it has horrible service with everybody except for US Cellular. And Project Fi then picked up the fact that they were going to be also using US Cellular on top of T-Mobile and Sprint, which means out where I work, I actually have great signal as long as I'm on US Cellular. I was considering going US Cellular, but I don't like their plans, and their prices are a little higher than everybody else. But my problem with their plan was that they slow you down to an extremely low speed when you use up all of your data. I actually like the fact that they don't charge you more; they just slow you down. That's one of the things I really prefer. But that speed that I actually tested it out, it's modem speed, the old-fashioned dial-up modem. So
The one thing that really, because I'd been talking with Jimmy about T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And as I was looking into it, I saw there was AT&T doesn't have it. I don't know about Sprint or Verizon, but it's just a little tiny dongle that you plug into the OBD2 port on your car, and your car has a mobile hotspot. So then so anybody that gets in your car, they can get on that. And then, I mean, it's essentially a SIM card that you plug into any car that's got an OBD2 port. Any car manufactured after 95 is required to have one. And it's the cost of, an additional device. So additional $10 a month. Your car has internet anywhere you go. And if your car gets stolen, you just pull up your Find My Phone and see exactly.
I know Verizon has a similar service that they sell.
And I saw that and I was like, oh, you know what?
So the Verizon plan, now that it's unlimited, the T-Mobile, the U.S. Cellular does work out where I work. The second best one is the Verizon. I've always avoided Verizon because they have been kind of jerks to some of their customers, and so for that, great network, kind of crappy service. That's kind of how been their reputation for a while. So if you don't mind, you just deal with the crappy service and get the awesome network. And so that's what some people do. Me, I didn't need that good of a network, and except for I needed it to work where it was. So now that it's out there, and now that this got this unlimited plan, it's made me think about it. And I can take this phone and I can move it over there. So I don't know. I probably won't change anytime soon, but it's a thought.
Before we move off of this topic, I just wanted to point out there was a quote at the end. T-Mobile's CEO.
I believe so.
But his words were, "I don't blame Verizon for caving. They just lost their network advantage. T-Mobile and Verizon's networks are at parity, and Verizon knows it. And more importantly, more and more customers know it. Their back's against the wall. Next up, we're going to force them to include monthly taxes and fees. And that is why I love T-Mobile."
Yeah, T-Mobile really pushes hard there.
He's always good for a statement, right? I mean, he likes to get out there and make noise and kind of rile things up a little bit. I haven't talked to anybody on T-Mobile that travels much recently, but just a year ago, my sister and her family canceled T-Mobile. They'd been using it for 5 years or so, and they just finally got so fed up over the coverage that they had in their area. They'd been fighting about it for almost a whole year and had horrible coverage. Specifically in their house, they basically had no coverage, and it was not good in their entire city for pretty much the whole time they had lived there. So that's something to be a little bit concerned about. And I have experienced where in more remote areas the coverage isn't anywhere near as good for T-Mobile. Now that may not be true now. Again, I haven't dealt with T-Mobile much in the last couple of years, but we when I lived in Idaho, there were a lot of places where T-Mobile was just not a viable option, and that's why I was with Verizon, and why I still am. Because when I'm traveling and on the road, I feel like I get better coverage. So his claim that it's got as good a network, maybe it does, but it definitely was not true 1 to 2 years ago.
Well, the story behind that is the story we actually skipped here because it's not really TV streaming related, but OpenSignal, a company that's independent and goes out and you go ahead and install the app on your phone, and you feed the whole entire crowdsourced database of what the current call quality is and the signal strength is. Well, they just came out with their data, and essentially Verizon's number one, T-Mobile's 1% behind them in coverage, which is a huge jump for T-Mobile. And the big story really is that AT&T dropped to third, and Sprint is really sad, way down fourth, sadly, because I like Sprint, but that's only because a long time ago used them, and I think that they're a pretty cool company, and they're very cheap.
So what was that again? Maybe you could, if you have that link available, drop it into the chat room.
Yeah, I'll have to find the State of Mobile Networks USA open, and I think this is the one here. I'll bring this up and bring it to you. Heard this on Cord Killers on Daily Tech News Show.
Okay. I'm a couple days behind there. unfortunately, sometimes at work I have to work and don't get to watch shows and stuff. Now,
Listen while you drive.
meetings. It's people in meetings frown upon me just like cracking out the podcast and listening to podcasts while I'm sitting there in the meeting.
That's no fun. Well, should we move on to the next story?
Yeah.
I think this one's yours.
Yeah. I don't really know how to frame this because CBS All Access, streaming service, on fire ahead of earnings report. Yeah.
What?
I know. There's the CEO. Was that Les Moonves? Was talking about their. So this would be CBS and show. Far more than people are giving them. Find that hard to believe, but the internet only subscriber base for 1.5 million since it launched in July, which is pretty good. And then CBS All Access is nearing the same figures. I don't know anybody that uses. I mean, I use the Showtime app, but
right.
Do either of you use the CBS?
I do not, but I could imagine using it if I cut my cable and I wanted Hulu. And since Hulu really doesn't have the CBS stuff, that fills that.
Hulu
right.
Said, but that's for the live Hulu. I guess with the reports say that CBS is expected to reveal a fourth quarter revenue of 3.9. And CBS posted 56 cents. 91 billion in revenue last year. So, I mean, there's growth. Sorry, Joe, man.
So, it's possible that this is a lot of people who are watching specific shows that are coming out for it, like The Good Fight, which is out now. And then, of course, you could have people who are anticipating Star Trek, which I'm anticipating, but I'm not going to pay for it until it comes out like a year from now.
You know, they were pushing really hard on the Star Trek thing for quite a while.
Got pushed back.
Encouraging people to sign up and stuff, and saying that it was coming out soon. Of course, I wonder how many people signed up with Star Trek in mind and are canceling or will cancel shortly because of the fact that Star Trek is continually getting pushed back. And now, I mean, the most recent estimate was they didn't give you a release date because it was
when it's done
so unclear. Yeah. So I'd be concerned about that number sticking up where it is, especially since every single person that is in that 1.5 million that is in their free trial period is going to cancel before the end of the free trial period. I exaggerate a whole lot, but that was definitely me. I tried using it. Maybe, again, this was 6 months, maybe even a year ago. I don't remember, but maybe it's a lot better. But boy, it was not that impressive when I was there. There was a lot to be desired.
It's one channel. Is it worth $6 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's way not all access. That's the biggest complaint I have. It's like, come on.
Most access, maybe some access.
Some access.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that last week CBS took a 50% ownership Capital Entertainment.
Who are they?
Which the They own stuff like CBS, was it Life in Pieces, and Netflix's new show Santa Clarita Diet. So that's allowing CBS to expand, get their hands in the Netflix pocket. I don't know anything about the other show, but yeah, and yeah, I don't know what to think about this. You can take anything and say, hey, look, we're doing great.
Yeah.
I still have really no desire to service. I know their big draw. They kept saying their big draw would be The Big Bang Theory and NCIS, and the ability to make shows specifically for. But we haven't seen any of those yet.
I think The Good Fight is out now. It's at least a couple episodes.
Okay, yeah, because that's the one that's the sequel to The Good Wife, right?
Right, and it is going to be on CBS All Access only, if not already only on there. I'm not a fan of it's a great show actually. I've seen a couple episodes of The Good Wife, and I'm sure this show is going to be just as good, but it doesn't interest me.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, there is one thing in here that kind of catches my attention, and that's their mention of adding CBS Sports Network and the Lionsgate films and stuff. So one of the big complaints I had was that, hey, I'd be willing to pay $7 a month to be able to get those 2 or 3 football games that I can't get on ESPN because they're show on CBS Sports. Last year, I missed, I think, 3 games for Boise State because of CBS Sports. And yeah, I hate to keep harping on Boise State. Everybody's getting sick of it, but
I'm not.
That's
Go Boise State.
That's what matters
Go
to
potatoes.
me.
They are
sports.
The potatoes, right?
Yeah. That's what matters to me in sports. And so I want to watch it, right? Like a lot of people, they're about NFL or whatever. And the problem with college games is they get spread across all the networks, and sometimes it's hard to get them.
Yeah.
So if they include that, then I'm definitely going to be paying during the football season when those games are going to show up. That's a draw. Also, the Lionsgate stuff and Pop, which I don't even know what Pop is, but also the option to add CW and Smithsonian and stuff like that. Now you start saying, okay, this is, like you said before, it's one channel. Well, now maybe it's not quite one channel. And if they keep that price reasonable in the $6.99 range or whatever, then you start to see a compelling offering where you're getting some stuff that you can't get other places. It's a little bit more diversified, a little bit more variety and options. If they continue to show the same commercial 3 times a commercial break, 15 times a show, for every single show, I'm still going to want to put a bullet in my brain and not be able to keep watching CBS All Access, because that was one of my biggest complaints. The same stinking commercial, often multiple times in a single commercial break.
We need a name for this.
It's horrible.
We need to give it a name, like commercial spamming or something like that. When you're watching a show and then it's spamming the exact same commercial.
So those of you out there, if you've got an idea of what that should be called when you see that same commercial over and over and over, tweet it to us at the VOD Squad. We'll crowdsource that one, because I'm pretty sure that the people out there, they're a lot more creative than we. Yeah, but I know exactly what you're talking about, because that was a thing I was complaining about. Was it last week or the week before about Comcast, their streaming app, where you're forced to watch these commercials over and over, but it ends up being the same commercial on repeat, with the counting down from 3 minutes. And I just want to pull out my gun and shoot something. But yeah. But you know who else has subscriber growth significantly?
Hmm.
HBO.
What? Looks
I
like
know,
HBO.
right? No, nobody
HBO's
watches HBO.
Well, the home box office network has been also growing, surpassed 2 million domestic HBO Now subscriptions in the company's fourth quarter, and they also think they've tripled their 2016 numbers, so it might be closer to 2.4 million subscribers. This is a huge jump for them because we all know that there's the big question of whether or not there's going to be some kind of fall off of various subscribers as they slowly wane away from the people who are getting it through cable. And now but it looks like they're picking up a lot of those people.
Yeah, and
all through PlayStation View and Sling TV and the other providers.
And that's what the article pointed out. It said that the streaming subscribers still represent a small portion of HBO's 49 million domestic subscribers, but it's growing. It recently surpassed 2 million domestic. That's just domestic, not worldwide. So 2 million domestic HBO Now accounts. And that says that they essentially tripled in 2016 compared to the end of 2015.
One thing that they don't tell you here, and one thing that I think would be interesting to know, is what is like subscriber longevity? Do they see a lot of people, because they don't have contracts, do they see a lot of people subscribe and desubscribe? I mean, yeah, I know that while I don't watch Game of Thrones right now, I'm definitely tempted to, because I've seen a few of the episodes and I read the books and would love to watch them. I haven't gotten around to it. But the thing is that I would be the kind of person that would subscribe as the season of Game of Thrones comes out, watch the season, and cancel. And I wonder how much they have of that. I also wonder if that 2.4 million subscribers is taken at the right time to get the majority of the people that are getting ready to cancel after they've caught back up on all of their shows.
You think they're cooking the books?
It's a possibility.
Well, it depends. It depends if they're counting those numbers from the actual revenue or if they're counting by subscriber numbers. Because you could get a huge bump in subscriber numbers but not have the revenue.
Right.
And they did.
But that's the thing.
But here's the thing. They did manage to increase the actual subscription revenue by 5%. So,
right.
But
okay, so they say subscription revenue by 5%, but they say subscribers by triple. Right. And so that's subscriptions tripled in 2016 compared to 2015. And then if you read all the way down to the very end of the article, right, they tell you that that's a 5% increase in subscription revenue. So that maybe indicates that they are utilizing the most advantageous statistic for themselves to say big headlines. Tripled the subscribers in 2016, and then down below 5% increase in revenue, because those subscribers didn't stick around the whole year. They were there for some of the year, and
it does specify there that it does see a churn rate. The percentage of subscribers canceling their service come down as the subscribers age, which means instead of fighting to replace the customers it's lost, HBO can more easily add incremental subscribers to HBO Now. So, and so that, I don't know. Like I said, I don't subscribe to HBO Now. This is only talking about the HBO Now subscribers and not HBO Go, which I still use HBO Go. So. Yeah, $16 a month, over 2 million users. Even if they're periodic throughout the year, it's still a big chunk of change.
Yes, it is.
That they don't wish you had that they no longer have to share with the cable companies.
Well, I will tell you who's not sharing that kind of money per person. It's YouTube Kids. YouTube Kids
What?
is YouTube Kids is got their own little channel for kids that you can get on your smart devices, whether it be smartphones or tablets. But it's strangely enough, you can't watch it directly on a PC. They've actually gone ahead and made 4 dedicated shows for original shows for YouTube Kids to watch for the kids. The 4 shows they have here is one called Hyperlinked, one Dan TDM creates a big scene, Kings of Atlantis, and Fruit Ninja Frenzy Force. Now, I can tell you, my son is a huge fan of Dan TDM, and probably will watch that just nonstop on his phone. So
Okay,
these
Dan TDM. Please educate me. I need to know.
Dan TDM is a he's not a kid anymore. He's a full-grown adult, but he started off as a kid, basically doing Minecraft videos and other very simple games where he would build up a storyline and have a various little adventure, and he would basically try out different maps that people would send him, and he would have a very fun time explaining how difficult it was and how cool the new maps were, and basically giving a whole little show about the different maps that you could play and the different games you could play on them. And he's been doing that for other games outside of Minecraft now for a little while. But he has a certain kind of he has a bit of humor to him that's it's a little juvenile, but that's fine. It's actually not bad compared to some of the other places. It's not bad at all. And just my son giggles nonstop watching them. So
I gotta say, I think this marks a milestone because this is like the first time that I can remember that somebody made an announcement about kids programming and I wasn't interested in a single thing. Normally they say kids programming and go, oh, no. Oh, ooh, that
Voltron.
Thing. I'm in. Yeah. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think this is interesting because it shows YouTube's commitment to kind of expanding into a more diversified, curated audience and original shows where YouTube Red starts to become a little bit more compelling. It's kind of like the CBS one channel thing, right? Paying for CBS when it's one channel isn't terribly compelling. When they start to add a whole bunch of other content, it becomes compelling. Paying for YouTube Red is a little compelling to get rid of commercials, but at least up to this point, the commercials on YouTube are not that annoying. So it's, I'm willing to sit through it the vast majority of the time because usually you can skip it. And if you can't skip it, it's usually only just like 20 seconds or something like that.
Right. And then you can skip it anyways.
So to pay, $5 or $6 a month to get rid of that's not terribly compelling. When they start adding a fair number of unique originals and quality shows, then it starts to become a lot more compelling. So I think, YouTube is onto something here. Hopefully they can provide stuff that's worthwhile. Getting the kids market is very important though, because, that's part of the reason that I pay for everything that I pay for is because it provides an easy way for my kids to watch and to get what they want.
Yeah. And I know my kids they pretty much live on YouTube. But you mentioned the ads, and that made me think of the fact that I don't know what it is, but I never see ads on YouTube. I don't know if it's just the content I'm watching or what, but very rarely do I ever see an ad unless I'm not logged in.
You aren't secretly paying for YouTube Red, are you?
Careful, you might accidentally be paying for it using something like Google Music or something like
that's
that.
What I was racking my brain thinking, is there something that I may be getting getting the red content and didn't know it because of something else that I'm doing with Google? because they like to give like perks for stuff.
Right. So it's
But-
pretty easy to find out now. They've made it really simple to find out if you're running YouTube Red. Log in to go to youtube.com, make sure you're logged in. The YouTube symbol in the corner will either say YouTube or YouTube Red. It's simple as that.
Yeah,
they changed the logo.
mine just says YouTube.
Okay, so you will get ads occasionally.
Well, that's what I was saying. But people talk about the way people talk about YouTube abs. Those you got to watch
crunches.
Ali. You want to see YouTube abs? You go check out Ali Spagnola. But because I almost the only time I ever see them, I think, is like when I'm not logged in, because then boom, you get hit by an ad, and I'm not complaining.
Right.
You guys out there at YouTube, I know you're watching. I am not complaining. I appreciate it. I am, very, very appreciative. But
this poodle puncher's not getting any ads. Oh, we'll have to fix that.
But that's my point.
Turn the dial, Mario. Turn it.
When I'm at work and I watch podcasts, right? I've got podcasts running all the time. Podcasts usually run half an hour to an hour-ish. And I will get an ad about every 3 shows I watch. Right. So that's every 3 hours I'll get a 20-second ad when I'm at work. Now, when I'm at home and we're watching music videos, for example, because my kids like to put on pop music or something like that, and music videos are running, we'll get an ad every 3 or 4 videos. And that's every 12 or 15 minutes. And so that's a lot more common. So I don't know if maybe it's the content that you're watching, because you use Spotify for your music predominantly, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that's not.
Oh, I get a lot of ads on there.
Yeah. So I think maybe
half hour.
it's the content to some extent, but it's just not that annoying. Like I said, if you have to watch a 20-second ad
absolutely.
every 3 music videos you watch, or every 2 music videos that you watch, that's not terribly compelling to me to make me want to pay to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, Jotman makes a point that maybe they show less ads to people who upload content or like content creators. But even before I was uploading content, it was kind of the same way. But that would be a nice perk. That would be a good way to boost their content creation. It's say, hey, if you upload this much per month, you don't get ads. Because then they can put ads on your content.
Right.
And hey.
A lot of people might game the system there and just.
If you use YouTube people, if you use that idea, I'll only charge you 5%.
Ooh, nice.
That's a deal.
No, I ended up with YouTube Red for a while because I had the Google Music subscription for a while, and I loved being able to. I went for the family plan and gave it to all my wife, my son, and so they could all be watching things without any of the ads, and then they can also listen to music without ads. And it's a really good deal if you have a bunch of family members and you're perfectly happy with YouTube Music. So I recommend it.
Rock on.
Yeah.
Well, do we move on to the last thing, which you guys were buried the lead?
Yeah, I think this might be the coolest thing I've seen, all week as far as news goes. There is a new box coming out called the Caavo, Caavo, and it's basically a glorified HDMI switch, except for it's glorified in a way that is glorious. This thing is smart. It's got its own smarts inside. It's got an IR blaster. What happens is whatever you plug into it, it figures out what it is. Hey, that's a Roku. Ooh, there's an Apple TV. Ooh, that's a Chromecast. Get some of your information from you. For example, can get with your login information for Amazon Prime, and you give it your login information for Netflix, and then you talk to it either through the remote or you talk to it using an Amazon, like an Amazon Echo, and say, hey, I want to watch a show. You pick a show to say, I want to watch Daredevil. And it figures out that that's on Netflix. It automatically switches it to your favorite device, automatically launches Netflix, automatically launches the show, knows exactly where you were watching last, and puts you right back where it was. No buttons pressed, no other things. Essentially, this is a gigantic box that you can plug all your devices into, and then it's a Harmony remote on steroids built into it to do everything. Try to limit down all the various excessive interfaces and all that. Just forget all that. Try to just talk to the device and make it work. Interesting thing, this thing is made out of solid wood. It will come out for about $400. Well, it's not solid wood. It's got a nice wood top, and it's got it's going to come out for about $400, which is a little spendy for for all that. But for those people who really want that kind of thing, it's a real nice premium device. And there's only going to be 5,000 of them, so it's going to be a little hard to get after the first round comes out.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come out with another version, but this thing's pretty awesome.
The concept reminds me of what Google was trying to do with the original Android, or with the original Google TV, in the fact that, everything in one place, and which was awesome until all the companies, like TV stations, started blocking those devices from accessing their content, and then it just became a brick. But this is cool. I don't know if I can spend $400 to try it though. Kind of want to.
Yeah, you should watch the video. I did watch a little bit of the video, and they are doing some pretty big smarts in this thing. This thing's a little computer. It's doing a lot of stuff. Being the device that sits between the set-top box and the TV, it is able to navigate those two things pretty well. And so
when you read like the full detail of how this is working and stuff, it's pretty crazy. And it's actually, while it's really cool and some great technology, it's also somewhat concerning, because I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for it to fail. And, it's using machine vision to actually navigate the screens of these boxes and effectively click to do things. Mm-hmm. Now, that is also, like I said, super cool, really high tech, awesome programming going on there. However, as long as those devices are cooperative, Apple, it says that they utilize their app on the Apple TV to make use of this. As long as the devices are cooperative and they're okay with the way this is working, then it's going to be all right. But once Apple decides, we don't really like the way your app is working with our ecosystem, and we think people should be using the Apple remote or whatever, or we want you to pay us a service fee to have access to our app like this, that's when you start to, it's really easy for Apple to update the system and prohibit certain things that are going on, or to just decline their app from being able to be rebuilt and updated. And there's all kinds of potential issues. So that concerns me a little bit. But it's a brilliant way to approach the complicated issue of dealing with multiple devices that have a lot of variety.
Exactly.
The performance would also be something that I would be a little bit concerned about. Machine vision, machine learning, that's all complicated stuff and takes a lot of processing power. And to be able to navigate the menus in a fast and effective way, it's hard. So hopefully, I'd like to see this 6 months, a year down the road. Certainly wouldn't be willing to shell out $400 for it right now, but especially since you've still got to buy all of the other devices, right?
Yeah.
Like you still got to buy.
You don't already have them, like someone I know.
But again, it's an expensive device. So if it works perfectly and it's got a history of working well, it doesn't even have to work perfectly, but it has to work reliably and stuff. Once there's a history there, I would definitely consider this. I think it would be really cool.
Yeah, because this solves the problem that I've had in the fact that I hate switching inputs. It's just annoying because then you got to find the other remote, and then it's just, I just don't like doing it. I want to just be in a device and be able to just access anything I want from one place, right? And this would allow that because I like Android TV. but I don't use my Android TV because it's missing stuff that's on other devices. If I can just plug all my devices into there and just access everything without thinking about it and then return back to the Android TV, I think I'd be in heaven.
You just thought of the perfect product. Somebody needs to make an Android TV because anybody can make one.
Yep.
That's also an HDMI switch.
Yep.
That you can just literally just go, oh, you want to watch something that's only on the Apple TV? Okay. Click, switch to it.
Well, that's what the Google TV was.
I know.
You plug your Apple TV in behind it, and then you can send that to your TV, and then overlay the Google TV on top of the Android or on top of the Apple TV, and then But
so the other thing I wanted to say is, Michael, it's kind of sad that you and I both came to this first kind of, supposing that if anybody out there would make it difficult for these guys at Kuvo to make this device work, it would be Apple. So I mean, it could be anybody, but the first one to came to mind was like, Apple's going to screw with this if they don't like it.
No, Google's like, please use our stuff.
Bring it on.
Roku's like, here's the tool. You just make your own app. You don't need permission. It's cool.
Amazon's like, hey, is there any way we can make it so it only works with us?
Yeah.
Google's theory is that they will find a way to monetize people that use it. Mm-hmm. So they're like, we don't really care. Just use it. Here, do whatever you want with it. We'll figure out a way to make money off of it at some point.
Right. Their theory
Apple's like, we have this exact pattern and this plan, and this is how you do everything, and that's the way it should be.
And don't mess with it.
Anything that interferes with that, they don't like. They're going to find a way to stop it.
Right. Yeah. Google is actually perfectly fine if Android TV fails. That's a sad fact.
Well, I mean, everything that Google does is an experiment.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, ultimately, like pretty much with every single one of their projects, the goal is to push the others, the competitors, get somebody to do something that works, that's good. If it isn't Google that ends up winning, as long as the consumers get a benefit someplace, which, like the Google Fiber was one thing. And then, like Gmail, but Gmail, people love Gmail. So it was like, oh, okay, we'll just keep doing it.
Gmail was free, and it was like legitimately free. There was no way to make money off of it for a while. They found a way to monetize.
Yeah.
They will figure some way to make money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Off of whatever it is. And that's their theory. It's like, we don't need a plan. We don't need a way to make money. We'll figure something out down the road once this is in everybody's hands and they can't live without it.
And usually they don't do it in a way that's too harsh for most people.
And it usually has little impact on the user.
Right.
Yeah. One thing that, before we move on, but the one thing that really sticks out was, like we mentioned, the price tag. Because with Google TV, the initial two Google TVs were in the $300 to $500 range. If you got the Sony with the DVD player or the Logitech Review. And that's initially what killed the Google TV, is people were like, I don't want to spend that money. And the people that did spend the money didn't get the stuff that they were promised because the platform got basically neutered. And then when they lowered the price, it was too late. And I would hate to see that happen again with this thing. So I hope the 400 is just a projected, we think this is what it's going to be, and it comes in. Even at like 250 to 300, I could see that, but 400 is a hard sell for me. So
yeah.
Any other thoughts on this thing?
It's beautiful.
Oh, it is. It's pretty.
since it's only 5,000 units are going to be sold, it's exclusive. So those rich people out there who are like, I gotta have this and make sure everybody knows that I have this best stuff on earth.
I missed it.
Oh,
Did
this is
the wood on there? Are they using bamboo?
They have a bamboo top and they have 3 other wooden
Okay.
tops that you
I
can
was
choose
saying
from.
because the bamboo one is the one where they have the least possibility of people screaming about them destroying the environment.
Destroying the environment. Why are you doing this to the poor trees? Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the limited edition is a limited thing, right? They'll come out with the production box that's not got the wood on it, and they'll hopefully, again, like I said, hopefully they'll have a track record by then. They'll have made sure that Apple's not going to try to cut them off, that it's going to continue to work with the Fire TV and stuff like that. So this is good to me. These are going to go to early adopters, wealthy individuals that want a statement piece. And then they'll iron out the kinks. They'll get all of the data that they need to make the machine learning work even better. And that's one of the things about machine learning. It takes a lot of time for them to be good. So the more use, the better they'll be. And then hopefully 6 months, a year down the road, they'll release a more consumer mass market ready version, and it will work brilliantly, and I will buy one.
Yeah, because the current one, I look at that picture and it looks like it came from IKEA.
Yeah,
I mean,
very
the
much
styling, it is very IKEA with the colors and the wood and yeah.
You know, it's not a bad look necessarily.
No, and it doesn't scream to me, you must buy me now. So I'm on the fence. We'll see. If anybody wants to donate to the Get Clyde Cavo box, you can just send me checks marked to cash. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll give you an address, P.O. box that you can send it to. But okay. Any other thoughts before we close this down? Rants, raves, anything going on?
Yeah, I thought I'd throw this one out there. For me, security cams. Specifically, I have a friend that has a Nest security cam. I don't have one yet. I'm renting my house, so it's hard for me to justify putting holes and running wires in a rental house. But he's got the Nest set up, and it saved him the other day. So he was out walking his dog, got an alert on his phone that said somebody had approached his door, and so he went home quickly and was able to get there before they left. He was able to see them leave, and now this is the debatable part. I wouldn't recommend anybody do this. He chased the guy down with him and his dog, and the guy dropped the backpack. His neighbor helped him corner the guy. The cops came up, picked up the guy, and he got all of his stuff back. His door did get broken in, so he had to pay his deductible on his door, but he got all of his stuff back. The guys got arrested, the 2 guys. Now, again, I don't recommend you ever chase a burglar because you never know when they're going to pull out a gun and shoot you or stab you or whatever. But point is that even if that hadn't worked, he had their faces on his Nest cam, and that's how they caught the other guy, the second guy, because the second guy got away and they had the face on the Nest cam. The cops picked the guy up and were able to arrest him as well. So, hey, these things are pretty cool. It works. And if he would have been a little more cautious, he could have seen that somebody was trying to break into his house and waited back a little bit as he called the police, and they still would have gotten the guys, likely, and he wouldn't have,
Yeah,
So-
also worth noting, if you're interested in the security cams, you should also look at the products from Ubiquiti. They've got some really good cameras. They're affordable. I was actually just talking to one of my coworkers is running 4 of them at his house, and we were sitting at his desk at work, and he was showing me his house.
Yeah.
And yeah, and wireless. That's the most important thing. Wireless. No need to run cables anymore. Just put it near an outlet, and you're good to go.
Right. Yeah. So the Nest is like that. It's just, but it requires power. So, again, the way this house is set up, there's not good power to the places that I would want it. But again, the key here isn't Nest. It's not any particular brand. It's that it be cloud connected and you be able to save some of the footage. And there's a lot of options. If you live in an area or you have kids or valuable items, then it might be something to consider. I certainly would like some, and I may get some even with the downside of having to figure out something for power for them. It's definitely saved him some money and some headache, saved some neighbors in my neighborhood and stuff. Something to consider. And there's a lot more options out there. And with the cloud services, they can't just steal the camera or break the camera or whatever. It's already on the cloud once they see the camera there. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're coming a long way with getting some actually quality stuff at an affordable price that doesn't require major installation.
One of the cool features of the Nest is that it knows the difference between people and animals and things. So you don't get an alert on your phone when a dog walks by your door or a cat walks by your door. It sees a person approach and it says, a person is approaching your door, and it sends you a message. That's back to that computer vision stuff. Google is doing some pretty amazing stuff there. So, like I said, it's might be something to consider. I'm definitely interested in it.
Rock on. What about you, Matt?
Mostly, I've been spending a lot of my time recently after I take care of my normal nightly chores, just cozying up to the computer and turning on YouTube and seeing what kind of floats to the top. And it's been a lot of time on that recently, and there's the political stuff on there. It's kind of funny and all that. But the thing I wanted to talk about was a channel by a guy that, I mean, he's a complete nerd, and more so a nerd than I am, which is kind of weird for me. This it's called the 8-Bit Guy. The 8-Bit Guy, he has a channel that's about old computers, Commodore 64, Apple IIes, and things like that, and how things are, recently I watched the one on how CGA graphics worked, and it's just like right up my alley. It's like, oh yeah, this is good stuff, and I how they were able to make the old graphic systems do things, that they weren't normally able to do with little tricks. And I mean, I never understood why the old Apples had the little color shift on them from one side being red and one side being blue or green. I can't remember which, but he explains it in there. And it's the little things like that. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. And it's well explained. It's super nerdy. I would not call it high production, but I wouldn't call it low production. The 8-Bit Guy is pretty funny. So,
yeah,
cool.
Rock on. Well, I mean, for me, I would say everybody out there needs to watch Ritual Misery podcast tomorrow night here on diamondclub.tv.
Ritual Misery?
Yeah, they're bringing on some idiot named Poodle Puncher, so that should be
that guy.
I know that guy. Everybody hates that guy.
What's with that guy?
But people ask him to be on their podcasts and stuff, and it's like, I don't get it. But yeah, no,
I think they must hate their ratings.
I think they're just desperate.
Must be.
I mean, I think that's the thing. They've already had on everybody that they could possibly have on multiple times, and they just like bottom of the barrel. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah. But
I'll have to watch.
Check it out. Come on out and heckle. Oh, actually, yeah, I think Sergeant Muffin was on there, right? Oh, but yeah, no, come on out, heckle me. We'll have some fun talking about stuff. But yeah. Other than that, you want to find more of us, send us messages, hate mail, whatever. We just like to hear from people. So at the VOD Squad on Twitter, thevodsquad@gmail.com. You can find our website is thevodsquad.com. And also on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We still got a ways to go till we can get that vanity URL. So
we really want it.
Please
really
don't make me create 80 accounts just to get us the.
If you're watching this, and
I'm
you
having
haven't
enough
gone
trouble
off
getting the videos
click
ready
subscribe.
to upload, let alone creating additional accounts to get us the subscription. But
please take the 5 minutes, 2 minutes it'll take you to go to YouTube, find the VodScop channel, and click that subscribe button for us, please. And if you have already subscribed, consider making a dummy account, at least one, and clicking subscribe for us, please. Just one. Just consider. You don't have to. Just think about it.
We've got what, 20 subscribers now? So
you could double that. You could double that.
Everybody created 4 fake accounts. That's all it takes.
That's right.
A single click could go so far to changing one of our lives, if not all of our lives. So, your support matters and is appreciated.
Yes.
And with that, I say good night. You froze again. Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.